Delwood hosted the sport's biggest and best players, the story began to unfold. There was drama, there was emotion, there was excitement. This is the story. Here is the history.
My name is Sean Callahan. I am the owner-operator of Delwood Disc Golf and the tournament director of Clash at the Canyons. My role in all of this stuff is to make people want to come out and spectate, that there's more to it than just throwing discs.
My name is Sheila Callahan. I'm the co-owner of Delwood Disc Golf. I help the behind-the-scenes logistics for our tournaments.
This is mostly an influx of new players over the last year that before 2020 didn't even know what disc golf was. So I think the gallery and the spectators that formed, it was so amazing, but I think that it was extremely present. It was there. It was hard not to notice it, but it was also hard not to feed off the energy that was provided from the vibrant crowd. So it was awesome.
Dan Schlitter pushes to 28 under par. The best Terry can do right now is fight for a tie on the final hole. I've got some goosebumps. This is very exciting. I'm waiting for those fireworks, buddy.
I got a feeling they're coming, T. You better believe Dan Schlitter drops a putt in for the win. We're going to hear him.
When I heard that the DGPT was coming to Delwood, I was just like, it's about time. That was the goal. It was an A tier early on, and then I know they wanted it to be more. They wanted it to be bigger.
An event series to that caliber is what we've all been waiting for. So I think it means the world to the community because it's the whole purpose of what we're doing.
Their eyes on the community, seeing what the community has to offer in the Chicagoland area, absolutely knocked it out of the park, and it's a high bar to set.
I love a good story. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s where all of us watched all these like heartfelt, especially sports movies, you know, where there was always like this underdog. We love to root for the people who are not the favorite. There's competition there, and these guys are intimidating. These guys do this for a living. I just have mad respect for him being able to be Dan Schlitter as often as he is, and then also be Dan Schlitter, the disc golfer who is running events and running leagues and then taking down one of the biggest tournaments that our area's ever seen. It's incredible.
When I first started competing in 2016, I was seeing players like Isaac McDonald and Gavin Rathbun, who are these Illinois amateur superstars. They were the cream of the crop. They were, rising to the top. And
I'm the cream of the crop. I rise to the top. But the cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah.
You know, I want to see the guy that we know that we're all homies with take it down against some of the best players that were signed up in their best form. And these are guys that I've watched play this sport for the last 5-6 years. It's incredible. And now they're beating some of the best players in the world, if not the best players in the world. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. It's the result of exactly what I'm trying to do. It's incredible.
We're all champions. It's just a matter of who is the biggest champion of that weekend.
Coming into this tournament, my entire professional career, all I wanted to do was make a A-tier lead card.
Just to hear the crowd getting louder and louder for every putt that I made down the stretch, and ultimately learning what it meant and what position I was in after 54 holes of regulation. This may not be over yet. This is 18's a very birdieable hole. I gave the high fives to my card mates and I walked right over to my caddy. I said, okay, now you can show me scores. You're in the lead by 1. Really? That's when we were just like, well, now we become spectators.
The pair of 28s are going to square off. We're going to be back with you with the exciting conclusion here of the Clash at the Canyons.
First on the tee, from Bartlett, Illinois, Dan Schlitter.
Dan, who's taken down countless events here in Illinois and the greater Midwest region, looking to take down Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver Series event here.
Terry Roethlisberger.
Looks like advantage Schlitter. What also really stands out about Dan is he's just a great person, and then he's just good people all around, and then to see him come out in his home state, in his hometown, in front of all his friends, it's good Schlitt. It's a 4th of July I'm not going to forget, and most certainly not Dan.
The adrenaline that was going through my body was so intense that it actually made me stop and go, oh, holy shit, I do love this stuff. Like, this is genuinely, I'm screaming right now, and it is like primal. It was almost kind of reassuring. Like, yeah, you really do love this shit to the degree that, like, we can't explain to people that don't do it. The immediate reaction was to just kind of like gas up the boys. Give it up for him, guys, give it up for him! It's like, I kind of just like gave him the fist bump and was like, let's go, like, turn it up. Like, this is now your stage, just the two of you. I could see them kind of just like, yeah, just kind of get in the zone, like once that happened, and then of course the crowd was just screaming their brains out. It was phenomenal.
The excitement on everyone's faces, and it was very exciting to see that.
I was friggin' terrified. I was shaking. Like, my heart was beating through my chest. We were all on that tee box with him as he threw down the gauntlet that is the right side gap of 13. That's the closest thing we know to that situation of like going into a playoff against a really good player at a high level event for a decent amount of money. Like, that's kind of a pinnacle for a lot of these guys that are playing today.
I can't imagine being under that pressure. Seeing him so calm and collected was really cool and very exciting, and it made me feel like he could do this. Looking back, you know, that fairway is elevated backwards, so when you turn around you could see everyone standing there. It was almost like a stadium, so it was really cool to just see all the smiling faces and be right there in it. It was just unbelievable.
It was the biggest deal that our track has ever seen, and it was electric. It was electric.
I felt it. I was shaking. I was excited. I could see everybody. It was like electricity in the air. I think you really had to be there to feel the energy firsthand in the crowd with everyone.
It's something I can absolutely never forget, and I'll never take for granted at all, because that doesn't happen every single day. That doesn't happen every weekend. Even the best players in the world are not going to be at that top spot every weekend, getting their name chanted, you know, being the talk of the town, essentially.
Your Clash at the Canyons 2021 MPO champion. That's some good Schlitt. Mr. Ryan Schlitt.
I still don't believe what just happened, but I just looked at scores again, and it's true. Just to see the course packed and the support on every corner was unbelievable. I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. It absolutely is surreal to have people asking for autographs, clapping for missed par putts. It's awesome. Huge 55-hole shout out to my caddy, Kenny Slauson. I'll see you at the next one.
That's something I'll never ever take for granted. I'll always remember it, and it'll always be further motivation, because now I know what it's like to have a taste of being at the top. It makes you hungry to hear those chants, hear your name chanted from 100+ people simultaneously. That's what you play for. That's what you want to win for. The emotion the entire time was just adrenaline and focus. You know, I was so pumped up on the crowd energy, on the fact that I was there in the first place, and also just going first in the playoff alone. I don't think people realize that that's the biggest advantage you can have in a playoff.
Come on, through it, keep through it. All right, down there.
he is in really good position regardless right now. Roethlisberger has to be thinking Dan's going to make that putt. Wherever we find Terry, he's going to need to convert from there.
And then that second shot, I just reached for my trusty red ringer. Shout out to my boy Tom Earhart, because he throws those in my face all the time and makes them look so smooth. I had to get one for myself.
Dan Schlitter's championship to claim here at the Clash at the Canyons.
And once I saw it curl and finally sit down and stop rolling, that's when I had a huge sigh of relief. The two most stressful parts of the hole were over. That's when I kind of started to realize, like, I'm gonna win this tournament. For the rest of my life.
This is my biggest win to date, and it's not even close. This is monumental for me. It's just going to be a little nicer to know that Schlitter is going to be a little more of a household name after this one.
To take the horns back and to get the Clash title back, it felt like it was coming back home, but at the same time realizing the magnitude of the event and what I really just did as a whole and who collectively I just beat, that was the feeling that was completely surreal and like, oh my God, you just did what? You just beat who? Those were the moments that were just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is beyond me right now. So
it just didn't seem real, because you don't expect things to happen that way, because that's what we see in the movies. But it was happening right in front of us.
But the support for everybody was awesome. Like, man, I don't know how many times I played with guys, some of the best in the world, obviously, they're running huge putts, barely missing these putts. They just tapped in a 5-footer and people are going nuts for them. Not because they're, you know, impressed or because they did something, but just because they're happy that they're there. I mean, and it's a mutual feeling. You know, the players were so happy, the spectators were there, and the spectators are seeing, you know, the best players in the world, or some of the best players in the world. Some of these players who they've seen for years on covers, and now they get to see them in the flesh at their home course. By far, the best part of the event was just feeling the love from the spectators and noticing the love from the players because of the spectators.
To have Dan win and do it in such a dramatic fashion in a playoff just couldn't be more perfect. He was excited for his win, but he was excited to share it with everyone.
Welcome home. You know, this title belongs here. It needs to stay in Illinois. A big stretch goal was to try and take this title back, and I was just more than happy to see that we succeeded.
I would like to think that Dan is completely happy with exactly where Dan is at. It's not by chance that he won an event, it's because he's the best.
Dan Schlitter, your 2021 Clash of the Canyons champion. Thank you.